A 13-year-old is killed during a racing accident at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 6 News is digging into whether speed and machines are too much for kids.
He was working in a deadly accident involving a Metro police officer and 2 motorcycles. Why one officer was pulled from the scene and then later demoted.
Waking up to find your car gone is a horrible feeling, but what's even worse, finding out it was towed by mistake and not knowing who took it. 6 News is on your side with where this is happening.
From the team on your side, this is the 6 News Nightcast.
New on the Nightcast, today people all over the country are grieving the loss of 13-year-old Peter Lenz. Lenz was hit by another racer after crashing his bike during a warm-up lap at a MotoGP event at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Medical personnel immediately rushed him to the hospital where he later died. The tragedy might have some parents steering clear of involving their kids in motorized racing. And some are asking the question, should young people be behind the wheel when they're not even old enough to get a license? Ericka Flye took those concerns to some parents and experts. Ericka, it's no surprise that many kids are drawn to this kind of sport.
As with motorcycle racing, go-kart racing has a wide youth appeal. Of course, we're not trying to compare the two because they're extremely different when it comes to the dangers involved and the safety precautions taken. But parents told me knowing what your child can handle when it comes to racing of any sort is key. At 6 years old, Ryan Graham gets
parking problems of a different kind in Broad Ripple. Imagine coming back to the parking lot, finding your car is gone, all because someone mistakenly towed it away. This happened to a number of people in Broad Ripple today. As 6 News reporter Dan SPEHLER explains, he is on your side tonight. Dan, what happened?
Well, Tricia, I'll tell you what, you don't want to park here tonight. We're just across the street from the post office behind the Vogue, just off Broad Ripple Avenue. And they've got these signs put up. Parking lot will be closed for repairs tomorrow morning. If you're parked in here, they could tow you out of here. But I'll tell you what happened. Some people were parked in here last night, overnight, and they got towed. They say they didn't see these signs up yesterday. And when we talked with the towing company today over the telephone, they said it was all a misunderstanding.
Vice President Joe Biden is in Baghdad tonight. He is there ahead of a ceremony to mark the formal end of the U.S. combat operations in Iraq. President Obama will address the nation tomorrow night. You can watch the president's speech on the war in Iraq at 8 o'clock here on RTV6.
Temperatures are still in the 70s in the RTV6 backyard. You can't see it, but right next door is a parking lot. I see a couple convertibles in there. They'll be okay tonight because dry conditions are expected, but we're going to focus on rain chances as thunderstorms line up to the west in my forecast.
There are anti-bullying laws in place, but are they enough to keep your kids safe at school? 6 News is on your side with what you can do to help your kids. Plus, a new study on C-sections is raising concern over induced labor.
6 News is on your side.
And because you asked.
now 6 News expands.
With the most local news in the evening. 2.5 hours.
More local news.
At 5, 5:30, and 6.
And Indiana's only 7 p.m. news.
6 News at 7. Watching out for your best interest.
Asking tough questions.
Investigating corruption.
Holding government accountable.
Evening news.
When you want it. Non-stop from 5 to 7:30. Because you wanted more.
Join the team on your side.
Expanded news is now on 6 News.
Well, you know it's been warm, but do you know how many days have been at 90 degrees or more if you're counting? We're comparing to 1983. That's when we had 58 days of 90-degree heat. So far this summer, today marked the 31st, and high temperatures yesterday were warmer than today. It'll feel a lot like Sunday tomorrow. The heat expands all the way back to the north, but this is not a pattern that will last all the trip. Back into the 90s, about 95 by the afternoon hours. Many spots will be about 87 or 88 for lunchtime. Cold front sits off to the west, and that's what will generate the showers and thunderstorms, but I don't think until Thursday. That's our best chance within the entire 7-day forecast. Once that's in the rearview mirror, we're looking at a dry and comfortable Labor Day weekend. 78 Saturday, lows back in the 50s. All indications are you get a green light for all outdoor activities by the weekend.
Nice and cool for the picnics, all that good stuff.
Beautiful. Thanks, Kevin.
Well, as Hoosier students return to class, almost all of them will deal with bullying, either as the target, the bully, or the bystander.
So what is being done to help your kids? 6 News Tough Question reporter Joanna Massey asks, does Indiana law do enough to protect students?
He was not really wanting to go to school. He didn't want to get on the school bus.
Brandy Knight's 15-year-old son is doing better now than he
Good news for 33 trapped miners. An ancient volcano awakens, and why star pitcher Roger Clemens is heading to court. Here's the Nightcast RSS. 33 trapped miners in Chile may finally have some good news on their rescue. Drilling began today on a shaft meant to lift the miners out one by one. There are also plans to expand one of the existing holes already drilled to make it wide enough for the miners. If that works, they could be out in 2 months instead of 4. Bad weather in the Gulf is keeping BP from lifting the piece of equipment that should have stopped the Gulf oil spill. Once the blowout preventer is removed, a new one will be put in place and the well sealed permanently. In Indonesia, a volcano is erupting, forcing the evacuation of tens of thousands of people. Already, crops are covered in a heavy layer of ash and the air is filled with sulfur. The volcano's been dormant for 400 years, so scientists aren't sure how bad it will be. A suspicious fire at the future site of a mosque in Tennessee was hit by arsonists. Police say 4 pieces of equipment were torched. Local Muslims there are worried they are being dragged into the Ground Zero mosque debate.
It's Ramadan. We try to come together as a community in the evenings to break our fast together. Our attendance level has been very low because people are scared to leave their homes.
7-time Cy Young winner Roger Clemens will head to court in April. Today, he pleaded not guilty to charges of lying to Congress about whether he used performance-enhancing drugs. If convicted, he would probably only face 15 to 21 months in jail. And that's a look at your Nightcast RSS.
Well, MotoGP star Colin Edwards devastated by the loss of Peter Lenz. A fresh interview with a man nicknamed the Texas Tornado. And Peyton Manning hoping that majority rules. Can some of his quarterbacking buddies help change what the umpires now do? With Nightcast today.
6 News is brought to you by Huntington National Bank.
Welcome back and good evening. You know, officially speaking, there's a lot to look forward to. The preseason ends Thursday night. That's good news. The regular season less than 2 weeks away. But if you're talking about the umpires, well then, officially speaking, there remain some issues. Jason Spells has more.
The NFL's decision to move the umpire behind the running back isn't sitting well in many NFL locker rooms.
I think it showed this weekend.
Guy's a stud. Finally, though, the guy who had the most fun Sunday had to be Juan Pablo Montoya. That was Juan on the back of that Ducati 2-seater yesterday. He has now done it all at Indy. Formula One, stock car, Indy car, and a bike to boot. Not bad.
Looks so scary. All right, are you ready for the new season of Dancing with the Stars? We have the full list of celebrities strapping on their dancing shoes.
Well, in case you missed it, a big announcement by ABC tonight revealed some Hoosiers will be dancing for the Mirror Ball Trophy this season.
Yeah, we have some folks to root for. Among the women who will be dancing with the stars, Florence Henderson, who was born in Dale, Indiana, and returns, of course, to sing for the Indy 500. Joining her will be Bristol Palin, Brandy, Jennifer Gray, Margaret Cho, and Audrina Patridge. Among the men, former basketball player Rick Fox, who spent his high school years in Warsaw. Joining him are Michael Bolton, Mike The Situation Sorrentino, David Hasselhoff, Kurt Warner, and actor-rapper Kyle Massey. The new season premieres Monday, September 20th here on RTV6.
The Hoff, you gotta like him. Hoosier native and Ball State alum David Letterman will be back in Indiana next month. He will host a conversation with Twitter co-founder Biz Stone about social media. It will take place September 17th in Emmons Auditorium at Ball State at 7:30. Tickets are free for Ball State students, faculty, and staff. Be there.
I'm looking at the list trying to decide who's my pick to win. I have no idea because these aren't like the typical talented performers, right?
It's going to be a crazy
predictions
year.
are tough. I do it for a living.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.
On TV, online, on your phone, on air 24/7, on your side, 6 News.